always be friends forever. Love me. Yeah, forever.
And you're my best friends too, Merlin and Elfie.
Screw society, we can be friends with anybody.
The best of friends, having so much fun together. You're not even aware you're such a funny pair.
Before we begin today's review, I wanted to give an extra special shout out to somebody special who has become one of my favourite YouTubers this year, Amy from the Movie Checklist. Her reviews are just extremely detailed and flawless, and she's also a winner on Ryan O'Toole's Rotten or Fresh. I'm rooting for her to be the champion of season 2 of Rotten or Fresh, and she just has currently 213 subs, but she deserves infinitely more, so let's get her up to 300 this month at least. That would be awesome. The Fox and the Hound, directed by Ted Berman, Richard Rich and Art Stevens, and is the 24th Disney animated classic overall, and this is a Disney movie that I have wanted to share my thoughts on with you all since the beginning. And so The Fox and the Hound tells the story of a mother fox leaving her cub to save his life while she's being chased by a hunter, to which the kindly big mother owl leaves the fox cub in the care of the sweet old lazy known as Widow Tweet, who names him Toz. Meanwhile, her neighbour, a hunter named Amos, sees that his other hunting dog, Chief, is displaying signs of old age, so he gets a new hunting dog puppy who he names Copper. And Toz and Copper meet unexpectedly one day and form an unlikely friendship despite society constantly telling them they're supposed to be enemies. Todd and Copper don't care, but as the two mature, society finally seems to be separating them. Since this is one of the most nostalgic Disney movies to me. I owned it on VHS when I was just 2, and I called it back then The Fox and the Pound. Yeah, but I actually 2-year-old Harry actually mistook Hound for Pound, but it just occurred to me, why haven't I reviewed The Fox and the Hound yet? And this movie entirely holds up. What a movie. The Fox and the Hound is a pure gem in Disney animation and is the most underrated Disney movie, period. Now, The Fox and the Hound is a more important movie in Disney's history than Disney fans tend to give it credit for, as it was the final Disney movie that wonderful animator Don Bluth worked on before he finally decided to leave the studio after he called the studio's work stale at the time, and would go on. Wolfgang Reitman, the Jungle Book's director, this was the final Disney movie that he produced, though he felt the movie had a weak second act, so he decided to incorporate a musical number with 2 storks singing a ridiculous song, which thank God was strongly disliked by the other members of the studio. They were like, we simply cannot include this in the movie, it's totally out of place. And I couldn't agree more. Imagine if a musical number with dancing storks was included in The Fox and the Hound. That would have sucked, because I guess nobody mentions The Fox and the Hound anymore whenever they bring up the Disney classics, since this is one of the Dark Age Disney movies, the movies of the 70s and 80s after Walt's death, when Disney was struggling to return to the magic of what made them once great. But just because it's a Dark Age Disney movie, that doesn't automatically make it bad. I mean, heck, even some of the Disney Renaissance movies aren't flawless, and of the Dark Age Disney movies, I believe there are some unrecognised gems here, and of the Disney movies of the 80s, The Fox and the Hound is by far the best to me. And so in today's review, I am going to give this beautiful movie the full recognition that it deserves. And Todd and Copper share easily the greatest friendship in movie history. Their friendship encourages everybody to be friends, whether you're a human, a cat, a dog, or alien. Anybody can be friends. There's no need for enemies. This message is reassuring as it lets us know we don't have to obey or listen to the rules of society always. We don't have to be enemies just because somebody says so. Todd and Copper prove this when they choose to be friends because they adore each other's company. They play together. They do everything together whenever they're free to meet each other, and they are heartbroken whenever they're apart. You just cry tears of joy whenever they are together. And Mickey Rooney and Kurt Russell are both so good at voicing Todd and Copper. I personally like Copper more than Todd of the two leads, as he's the more interesting of the two. And their choice to be friends leads to some compelling conflicts and arguments between their owners. Miss Widow Tweet, who desires to protect Todd from the hunter Amos, who sees Todd as nothing more than game. And the character of Chief, voiced by Pat Battenrun, who's a regular voice actor for Disney, provides the critical turning point in the plot, as he's the exact opposite of Copper. He loves hunting with a passion and is rather jealous when he sees Copper taking his place as Amos's new hunting dog. So when he chases down Todd to show his master he still has what it takes, and then he gets hit and severely injured by a train in the process. That leads to Copper blaming Todd for Chief's broken leg, and that leads to Copper blaming Todd for Chief's broken leg. And most of the second half of the movie where they do fall out, boy, that's emotional to get through. And although Chief was originally intended to be killed off in that sequence, however, they decided at the last minute to let Chief live, as they were afraid of traumatizing the kids. Disney actually wouldn't have the balls to kill off one of their lead characters until Lion King. Big Mama Owl is hands down my favourite of the characters here. She has a heart of gold and ensures Todd is looked after no matter what. And even the woodpecker and the golden birds, Boomer and Dinky, are hilarious supporting characters, as they're a side story in which they're attempting to catch this caterpillar before the caterpillar transforms into a butterfly at the end. That subplot not only gives them something something to do, but it also adds to the movie's message about friendship, how Boomer and Dinky learn to befriend the butterfly and let him go on his way. And also the character of Vixie, voiced by Sandy Duncan. This is a character that nobody has mentioned when they have reviewed this movie in the past, even though she doesn't make her entrance into the movie until the second half. I have a soft spot for her as the love interest, since she keeps Todd company when he's at his lowest low. Do I need to say how emotional this movie can get? The moment, but in particular, where Widow Tweed literally leaves Todd and drops him off at the game reserve and says her goodbyes. To say that moment is heart-wrenching would be an understatement. And the animation here is gorgeous. Trust me, you feel like whenever this movie cuts to the forest, you feel like you are in the forest itself, and especially the opening shots. There's something haunting and eerie and suspenseful about that. And you're the best of friends. Doesn't that song just put a smile on your face and make. Doesn't that song just put a smile on your face and make you want to spend the day with your best Buzzy? And this film is, one of the greatest examples of tension in a movie. Whenever the characters are put in a mortal peril, you feel like they could die in any moment. The chase scenes in this movie have tension is raised to this level in the chase scenes in this movie. We see hunting from an animal's point of view, and that helps us to feel sorry for the poor critters. The climax of The Fox and the Hound with the bear is rightfully praised in the animation world, and this is I will go as far as calling it one of the greatest scenes in animation. This bear fight is the definition of intense. It gets shocking. It's literally a fight to the death. Disney doesn't do scenes like that anymore, and they were so good at them when the bear just swipes the gun clean out of Amos's hand, and then Amos gets his foot caught in one of his own traps, and Copper fights the bear to protect his master, but despite his best efforts, he's simply no match for the bear physically. But then out of nowhere, Todd decides, I can't let my former friend be killed. I'm not a dick. So he faces off the bear, and the two fall over the waterfall. That's entire sequence is something Disney should certainly be proud of. A 2-year-old me was on the edge of my freaking seat throughout that scene, thinking this could literally be the end of our heroes against this bear. I mean, and seeing Todd, this tiny little fox, take on this bear to rescue Copper, that's like Yoshi taking on Bowser. It goes to show how powerful friendship can be, where you literally risk your life for one another. And the ending is bittersweet but happy at the same time, as Amos decides to spare Todd after Copper helps Amos see that Todd just saved them both. Amos gets a broken leg, which is a fitting comeuppance for hunting those animals, and he's taken into the care of Widow Tweed all, and Copper remembers and recalls the days him and Todd would play as kids, and Todd and Vixie watch from the hillside. And as for negatives, there's no negatives. And as for negatives, there's no negatives. You'd have to be heartless to find any flaws in The Fox and the Hound. So The Fox and the Hound is an outstanding achievement from the Mouse House. It is a legitimate work of art, so that's how good I think it is, and it should never be forgotten. It showed that there is and it shows that there's still some good in the dark age of Disney.
I give The Fox and the Hound 5 stars out of 5. Best movie ever.
Well, this movie certainly kicks its god-awful sequel in the arse. Why does that sequel exist? Oh, I'm preparing a rant for that sequel one day. And also, happy Easter to you all. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what do you think of Fox and the Hound? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Google+, and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time, where I shall continue to upload the requested videos from you all. I still have some to upload, and after that I shall return to my MCU reviews, and I'll see you then. And remember, movies are us. Bye guys.